Hi, this is Osman. I'm an energy healer, yoga and meditation teacher, and an entrepreneur. Please be sure to visit my website, yogawellness786.com, for more information and about our services and to get in contact with me. And also remember that our therapies are all natural therapies and not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, be sure to visit a licensed and qualified medical practitioner in your locality. So today I wanted to speak about the concept of the feeling of loneliness and depression, right? So this is something which the World Health Organization said is sweeping, the world and reaching a level where it's going to become a pandemic in depression, anxiety, feeling of loneliness, stressfulness, right? So the suicide rates is increasing across the globe, even in highly developed countries like Japan, that during the COVID period, there were more suicides than people dying from the COVID virus. And yet the COVID virus came and increased, the mortality and, of people to a very high degree that it was declared a pandemic. So to address the problem of loneliness, depression, anxiety, from a yoga sciences point of view is very important, because me being so many decades in the field, I can say that one of the best tools for overcoming loneliness and depression, anxiety. So we're not talking about chronic levels of depression and anxiety. We're talking regular, people normally feeling lonely, feeling depressed, feeling like unfulfilled, feeling that they are not getting anywhere in life, and being put down, feeling down. This is a common feeling which perpetuates, a lot of, the people's mindset, as well as the day-to-day activities. At least 50% of the mind is thinking of negative things, and this feeling of depression, overcoming people. So the practice of just simple yoga postures like hatha yoga postures, just in my website, if you go to my website yogawellness786.com, there is a free download. It's a 5-minute yoga and meditation protocol that I took decades to develop, and it is very simple. It will only take 5 minutes of your time that you can perform in your bed, and you'll feel much better from the very first day. You'll feel a state of calmness, relaxation, and the alleviation or decrease in your feelings of loneliness and depression from the very first thing. 5 minutes is nothing, right? But yoga science, if practiced, properly under, a proper teacher, doesn't need to take a lot of time. Just 20-30 minutes a day will dramatically improve and enhance your life, improve and enhance your state of equanimous mind. So what actually happens is, most of the people, we'll say 100% of the people who's not practicing yoga and meditation, they generally 100%, or 99 or more than 90% of the time are in a beta state of mind. Beta state of mind is the mind is always thinking of this and thinking of that and jumping to that and what happened before and what's going to happen tomorrow, and 80% of all the things you're worried about tomorrow will never happen, right? So you're worried about so many things that may happen, and you're worried about so many things that already happened. Why did it happen? And trying to justify and analyze and how you can improve yourself and so forth. And hardly any time to live in the moment, right? Hardly any of your quality, mind space is dedicated to just enjoying the day and what's surrounding you and hearing the birds chirping early in the morning. This morning I was surprised because sunrise currently, is at a certain time, and usually about an hour and a half before that or an hour before that we start hearing the birds chirp. And I think it was about 3 hours before sunrise, way before 3 hours, and I normally get up early, and I was hearing some of the birds chirping, and I was amazed, to listen how beautiful and melodious that sound of the birds were. And to get up in the morning, my mind is not thinking on this and that. And to be able to wake up early in the morning, you must have been able to sleep well. So how can you sleep well when your mind is so stressed and you are thinking of so many problems and you have difficulty sleeping? I generally sleep like a baby. I very often, I would say 99% of the time, do not even recall my head touching the pillow. And not that I undersleep. I used to undersleep way back in the past, but after seeing the development of science and the evolution of epigenetics and the study on the telomeres, I understood that one must have a minimum seven hours of sleep. So 7 to 9 hours is even better. So I strive for 9 hours, a day. Although I'm practicing meditation and yoga, and but prioritizing that. And I know there are many teachers who say that you're wasting your life, you're sleeping it away, and 1/3 of your life, or more than 1/3 of your life, you're spending, or close to half your life, you're spending, half asleep. But this is important because you are not a machine that is perpetual. You're not a perpetual machine. You are a machine that needs rest and rejuvenation, and you need that amount. And science is saying that if you have less than 7 hours, your markers for chronic ailments and a shorter lifespan, becomes, significantly increased, and your telomeres definitely get shortened, and indicating a shorter life, right? They've attributed longer telomeres to longer life, right? And shorter telomeres to shorter life. So yoga science, practicing yoga, brings about a state of calm in your mindset that permeates your everyday living 24/7, just by practicing it just a little. And you don't necessarily have to practice it daily. When I originally started to practice yoga, I originally started practicing it only once a week, right? Going for a yoga class once a week. And then once or twice, otherwise I used to spend a little bit time trying to, practice it. This is my very early childhood. But automatically I had that sense of calmness that people used to identify and ask how I could remain, that I looked very calm and I seemed to be able to handle, negative situations very well, right, as a child. And as growing up, and yoga became, a part of my daily life, and wasn't a major part, just 20 minutes a day, right, 20-30 minutes a day. And that sense of calmness permeating is actually an alpha state of mind, the alpha frequency. So you become established in the alpha frequency. Alpha means the goal frequency. This is the ideal frequency to be in order to be able to make decisions, in order to encounter challenges in life, and for a general overall experience of life is that much better and more pleasant. And of course your overall health is dramatically improved because you have that much less stress. And stress is one of the major contributors to illnesses, chronic ailments, and of course depression and anxiety as well, right? And so practicing just the yoga postures is amazing. And then if you practice mindfulness practice, which is a very popular, this also helps. So they found that those who practice mindfulness for at least 7 to 20 minutes a day, so a minimum of 7 minutes a day. I mean, how much is 7 minutes, right? Over 6 to 8 week period. So if you're practicing just 7 minutes a day over 6 to 8 week period, that 80% of the people who did that practice showed an increase of the endocannabinoids, a chemical component that is there to bring about a more blissful state of mind, more serene state of mind, right? Increasing that, your own chemical that's in your body, right? Producing endocannabinoids, increase by 70% within a 6 to 8 week period. So, I mean, how amazing is that? So at least have 7 minutes a day, right? Minimum, to practice at least some mindfulness. Just sit comfortably, you don't have to, I mean, if you can sit cross-legged is that much better, but to sit comfortably on your couch and close your eyes and just, stop thinking about the future and the past just for a few minutes. Tell yourself physically, although the mind is going to keep jumping, but keep bringing it back to just observing your breath, for example, right? Just observing your breath, for example, or better yet, listening to some meditation music, right? Some guided meditation. I found this in my earlier practices when I was earlier, didn't know much about meditation. I found this to be the greatest tool, the guided meditation audios, right? You get 10 minutes guided meditation, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, as you can increase it according to how much time and capacity that you have, right? To listen to at least 7 minutes of that, it makes it so much easier, to get into that calm state. And you're going to, within a 6 to 8 week period, very short space of time, not waiting 90 days, right? 90 days is 12 weeks. So in half the time, you're going to experience noticeable benefits. So you don't have to go to laboratory to see, the chemical, shift in your body. You'll feel that much more calm, more centered, and so forth. And then there is also breath work. A lot of people are getting into breath work these days, and to understand that those who practice pranayama, the correct technique, if you learn the correct technique, which is not very difficult, right? It's a simple practice, and you practice that. Those who practice that regularly, right, according to, and it normally, when I teach it to my students, it normally is taking around 10 minutes a day, right? It is not possible for someone to have psychological problems in the long term, right, by practicing the correct technique. And as you develop the technique and become more and more advanced in it, you will, to come to a very advanced level need not take you more than 30 minutes a day of breath work, right, on a very advanced level, right? So of course, there is more recommendations and so forth for those who have time and to go into, the higher levels and so forth. So I mentioned 3 aspects. I mentioned mindfulness, I've mentioned hatha yoga, and I've mentioned breath work. So these are all easily accessible online. You can learn some simple strategy, and implement it. You don't necessarily have to do one thing. Maybe hatha yoga is better for you, mindfulness is better for you, or breath work is better for you, right? And one simple breathwork technique that is very powerful, that is taught by Tony Robbins in his Get the Edge program, right? He teaches a breathing technique that every morning you must get up, and the first thing is you must start moving, go for a walk, right? And start walking. You can jog later, but at least for the first 5 minutes if you're walking, and to breathe in 4 times through your nostril and out with your mouth and in through your nostril, right? 4 in and 4 out. And when you're breathing out, you can even, recite some positive incantation or so forth. But just the breathing, in 4 breaths and out 4 breaths, you're going to feel positive. So I just did 3 or 4 of those, right? Already I'm feeling a surge of positive energy in me. Try it, right? For just a few rounds. I mean, it can change. When you're feeling down and you're feeling lonely, you're feeling depressed, just try that, for a few seconds, for 10 to 20 seconds, and see how you feel, right? And then try to incorporate it in your daily practice by going for a walk, for about 5 minutes, and then walk, your 2 miles minimum a day, or your 10,000 steps, right? And try to implement that breathing technique, wherever you can while you're walking. You don't have to necessarily, dedicate any time in between while you are moving from one place to another, walking, or you have a little bit of free time while you are doing your work. How easy is that, right? So I've given you sufficient, very simple tools, right? A 5-minute yoga and meditation program you can download for free, a very simple meditation technique that you can practice for at least 7 minutes, and a very simple breathing technique that you can practice while walking or in your activities that can help you to alleviate your loneliness, feeling of depression. And when you make it a habit and you dedicate a little bit of time, on a daily basis, just watch within, a 6 to 8 week period, how that consistency is growing and changing your life and changing the quality of your life. I hope that helps you, and take care always.